Andrews and what it is that we've just read on this Thursday, the 22nd of September, with Malcolm, with Alison, and with no Mike, sadly.
And the jingle. We've got the jingle instead of Mike.
Yeah, well, that will do. That's probably makes more sense than Mike.
Yeah.
So
no, we miss you, Mike.
Well, sort of.
Well, yes.
So 1 Kings 4.
Yes, it was about. Sorry, I'm not even.
You're going to need to do this because actually, to be totally honest, I went out at that point because we had no takers on our thing, so I thought I'd better check that we were actually live when we were there.
Well, 1 Kings 4 was about Solomon and just really saying about how wise he was, and it's like the beginning of the plans for building a temple. Because
God had said to David, you can't build the temple because you've been somebody who's fought too many wars, and
that's right.
And so Solomon prepares for Solomon.
And he says about this with his sort of agreement with Hiram. Yeah. Hiram. It's
almost bringing in a sort of almost paradisical. It almost sort of, we've got a picture of paradise here. Mm-hmm. Everything in the place. The righteous king on the throne who has wisdom with abundance and sort of a glimpse. It's a glimpse of it's a glimpse of the kingdom, of what it could be like.
I love it in this first sort of in the first paragraph where it talks about him being wise. And often you think of wise, well, that's, in general sort of things. But then it also talks about the fact that he composed 3,000 proverbs and songs numbered 1,005. So he's not just sort of.
And he would speak, and he's a scientist.
He would speak
of trees,
and animals. It's lovely, yeah. And people came to hear him. People came to hear his wisdom as well.
And then moving on to Acts 15, a really important point in the church's history, because at this point the church gathers together, or the leaders of the church come together, and they're going to discuss this big question of what about the Gentiles? Should Gentiles who come to Christ, should they be circumcised? Or not? I mean, was the good news for the Gentiles? And again, Peter tells that really important story of when he has the vision of the. Well, I am.
Sorry about that.
Not quite sure what happened there. It suddenly went blank. Yes. It wasn't obviously somebody wasn't very happy with what I was saying.
Divine intervention.
Definitely divine intervention. Anyway, in the end, they decide that they come to this agreement that no, this God clearly, the Holy Spirit has come to Gentiles. Clearly, it's for people, all peoples. And then this thing at the end where they shouldn't, they should restrain from blood, from what's been strangled, from things polluted by idols and fornication. A very interesting reason, because the law of fornication. A very interesting reason, because the law of Moses.
I wondered that. I suddenly thought, they said not to be strangled by all of these. I wondered that. I suddenly thought, they said not to be strangled by all of these things and be held down by all of these laws, and then suddenly they are putting in some laws.
But almost it's saying because by doing these things they would offend the Jews. I think this comes back to that great principle. You are free, but you don't do that which offends your neighbour. And that's why these particular 4 things are picked up. I mean, some of those, we would say, well, very clearly, particularly, some of those things sort of perhaps have dropped. Fornication is obviously one that the New Testament continues to write against, because that destroys other people as well as yourself.
Lived by idols, putting God first. But that's interesting. But the big thing was the circumcision, wasn't it? They didn't have to be circumcised. Which I guess was the big change.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you, and have a great day.